of the origin of the universe. Mr. Henson said, Eugene, that is outstanding. Then Mr. Henson said, class, can anyone else tell me how life began? Katie raised her hand. Mr. Henson said, yes, Katie. Can you tell us how life began? Katie said, yes, about 4.5 billion years ago, the earth was formed out of space dust, and on the surface of the earth there was a warm chemical soup. Something like a lightning bolt hit that warm chemical soup and caused those chemicals to evolve into the first life. That first life gradually evolved into a fish. That fish gradually evolved into an amphibian. That amphibian gradually evolved into a lizard. That lizard gradually evolved into, over multiplied millions of years, a lower mammal. That lower mammal evolved into a lemur. That lemur evolved into a monkey, and that monkey evolved into a man. But Mr. Henson said, that is outstanding. Katie? Tommy had a problem. You see, that wasn't what Tommy had been taught at his house. Oh no, Tommy had been taught that in 6 24-hour days, God had spoken the earth into existence. And that there weren't multiplied millions of years for evolution, and that humans didn't evolve from monkeys. God created Adam from the dust of the ground, and then created Eve from one of Adam's ribs. And Tommy wasn't the only one who had been taught that. In fact, 90% of the class had been taught exactly what Tommy had been taught. And Tommy was having some problems. Mr. Henson was the smartest man he knew, at least about scientific matters. Now, Tommy's dad could fix a car, or Tommy's dad could fix a washer or a dryer, but he didn't know science like Mr. Henson. And Tommy wanted to know who was right. Well, in the back of the class, Stephen raised his hand. Mr. Henson said, yes, Stephen. And Stephen, in a very nervous but courageous voice, said, Mr. Henson, evolution's not right. My dad says that God created everything in 6 days. Well, now Tommy was thinking, yeah, that's what my dad says too, and so was 90% of the class. And they wanted to know what Mr. Henson was going to do with this information. And they were shocked when a smile crept across Mr. Henson's face. And Mr. Henson said, Stephen, where did your dad get that information? And Stephen said, well, from the Bible. And Mr. Henson said, that's what I thought. And he walked over to his desk, and he opened the top left drawer. And he pulled out an old leather book, and he came back and he started reading that to the class. And in his reading, he started reading words like hast and doeth and createth and maketh. And then he asked the class a question.